Good morning, our horrible opponents. Today, we, the government team, strongly support the motion that online learning has become the permanent part of higher education. Let's begin by acknowledging an undeniable reality. The educational landscape has transformed permanently. The rise of digital technology, accelerated by global pandemic, has reshaped the way students learn. Online education is no longer a temporary alternative. It's an essential component of modern higher education. As the first speaker of the government team, I will establish our position and represent our first major argument. Online learning provides flexibility and convenience, making higher education more accessibility and adaptable to student diverse lifestyle. Firstly, flexibility is one of the greatest strengths of online learning. Traditional classroom requires students to be physically present at fixed times and location. However, online education allows students to attend lectures remotely and in many cases access recorded lessons at their convenience. This is the particular beneficial for students who face the financial pressure, part-time employment, family responsibility, or geographically barriers. A university student living in their rural area, for instance, no longer has to relocate or travel extensively to receive quality education. Furthermore, online learning encourages independent learning and personal responsibility. University students are adults who must develop discipline and time management skills. Through online platform, students learn to organize their schedules and become more autonomous learners. Skills that highly valuable in professional life. According to the education research conducted globally after pandemic, many universities reported that increased participation in digital learning because students appreciate the flexibility of learning at their own pace. Ladies and gentlemen, education should evolve with society, not remain trapped in outdated system. We no longer work in a world where everything must be occurred physically. Business, workplace, and communication have embraced the digital transformation. Why should higher education remain behind? In conclusion, online learning offers flexibility, accessibility, and independence, making it a necessary and permanent part of higher education. It empowers the student to learn according to their circumstances while preparing them technology-driven further. Thank you.
Good morning, worthy opponents. Before presenting my arguments, I would first like to respond to the government team's opening speech. The government argues that online learning provides flexibility and convenience. While this may sound beneficial, flexibility does not necessarily result in effective education. Excessive flexibility often leads to procrastination, lack of discipline, and reduced motivation among students. Education requires structure, interaction, and accountability elements that are often weakened in online settings. Now, as the first speaker of the opposition team, we firmly oppose the motion that online learning has become a permanent part of higher education. At first glance, online learning appears convenient. However, convenience does not always equal quality. Education should not only be accessible but also meaningful and effective. Our first major argument is this: Online learning significantly reduces learning quality and student engagement. In traditional classrooms, students benefit from direct interaction with lecturers and classmates. They can ask immediate questions, engage in discussions, and receive instant feedback. However, online learning creates academic distance. Students frequently become distracted by social media, multitasking, or simply losing focus behind screens. Many students even attend classes without participating meaningfully. Additionally, certain universities' subjects cannot function effectively online. Medical students require clinical practice, engineering students require laboratories, and communication students benefit from real-life interaction. Universities' education is not only about receiving information, it is also about developing teamwork, communication, and critical thinking. For these reasons, we firmly oppose this motion. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable opponents. Before presenting my argument, I would first like to respond to the opposition team. The opposition claims that online learning reduces disciplines and student engagement. However, discipline depends on the individual student rather than the learning mentor itself. Even in traditional classrooms, students can lose focus or become disengaged. Furthermore, universities today use attendance tracking, quizzes, breakout discussions, and online participation systems to maintain engagement effectively. Now, I will present our second major argument. Online learning expands educational access and equal opportunities. Education should not be restricted by geography or financial circumstances. Online learning allows students from remote areas to access quality education without relocating. It also benefits working adults, students with disabilities, and those balancing family responsibility. In addition, students now have opportunities to attend international webinars, global courses, and virtual academic conferences that were previously inaccessible. The opposition argues that practical subjects require physical presence. While we agree to some extent, we are not suggesting that education become entirely virtual. Rather, online learning should maintain a permanent component that complements traditional education. For those reasons, we should continue to strongly support this motion. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable opponent. Before presenting my argument, I would first like to challenge the statement made by government team. The government claims that online learning improves educational access. However, accessibility is meaningless if students lack the resources to participate effectively. Not all students own laptops, high-speed internet, or stable digital access. Thus, online learning may actually widen inequality rather than reduce it. Now, our second major argument is online learning creates technological inequality and educational disadvantages. Online learning depends heavily on internet access and digital devices. Yet, many students from lower income families struggle to afford proper equipment. Students living in rural areas often experience weak internet connections, causing interruptions during lectures and examinations. Imagine missing an important class discussion or exam simply because of technical failure. This creates necessary stress and disadvantages students financially and academically. Physical campuses, on the other hand, provide equal facilities, libraries, laboratories, and academic resources for everyone. Therefore, online learning should remain supplementary, not permanent. Thank you.
Good morning, respected judges, honorable opponents, member of the audience. Before presenting my argument, I would first like to respond to the opposition team. The opposition argues that online learning increases inequality because of some students lack internet access or digital devices. While we acknowledge these challenges, technology inequality is not a flaw of online learning itself. It is a broader societal issue. Rejecting online learning due to unequal access is like rejecting education because some students cannot afford textbooks. Instead of eliminating online learning, universities and governments should improve digital infrastructure and provide better support for students. Now, I'll present our third major argument. Online learning prepares students for digital future while reducing educational cost. We live in an increasingly technology-driven society where remote work, online collaboration, and digital communication are becoming normal. Through online learning, students naturally develop important professional skills such as time management, digital communication, and technologically adaptability. Higher education should not teach theories but also prepare students for future careers. Additionally, online learning reduces transportation, accommodation, material costs, making education more affordable. The opposition claims practical subjects require face-to-face learning, and we partially agree. However, blended learning models allow theoretical learning online while maintaining practical sessions physically. Therefore, online learning strengthens education rather than replacing it. Thank you so much.
Good morning, honorable opponents. Before presentation my arguments, I would feel like to challenge the government's previous statements. The government argue that online learning prepares students for digital futures. However, preparing students for the future does not mean sacrificing meaningful human reactions. Not every profession depends primarily on screen. Doctor, lawyer, teacher, business leaders, and many professionals require strong interpersonal communication and real-life collaborations. Technology should support education, not dominate it. Now, our third major argument is this: online learning negatively impacts students' mental health, social interactions, and communication skills. So university life is more than attendance lectures. Students build friendship, leadership skill, teamwork, confidence, and emotional intelligence towards real-life experience. Online learning limited opportunities often leave students feeling isolated. Many students report anxieties, burnout, loneliness, and reduced motivation during prolonged online learning periods. Furthermore, online environments weaken presentations and communication skills because many students advise active participation behind screens. So, a university education should develop a whole person, not merely academic performance. For this reason, we strongly oppose these motions. Thank you.
Good morning, respected judges and member of the audience. Before summarize our case, I would first like to respond to the opposition team. The opposition argues that online learning weakens communication skill and creates social isolation. However, this argument overlooks the fact that modern education increasingly depends on digital interaction. Students today participate in online presentation, virtual teamwork, and discussion forums and collaboration projects. Rather than weakening communication, online learning and develop new forms of communication that are highly relevant in today's workplace. Now, as the fourth speaker of the government team, I would like to reinforce why this motion deserves your support. Throughout this debate, we have consistently demonstrated that online learning has become an essential and permanent part of higher education. Firstly, it proves flexibility for students managing job, families, and personal commitments. Secondly, it increases educational accessibility for students regardless of location and financial background. Thirdly, it prepares students for a technology-driven workforce while reducing education costs. The opposition highlighted several weaknesses, but no educational system is perfect. The presence of challenge does not mean we reject progress. Instead, we improve system to maximize benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, the question is not whether online learning is flawless. The question is whether it has become permanent in higher education. The answer is clearly yes. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable opponents. Before concluding our case, I would first like to respond to the government team. The government repeatedly argues that online learning prepares students for the future workforce. However, future success depends not only on digital skills but also on interpersonal communication, confidence, teamwork, and real-world collaboration. These are qualities best developed through face-to-face educational experiences. Now, as the fourth speaker of the opposition team, I will explain why this motion should not be supported. Throughout this debate, we have consistently shown that online learning reduces student engagement, creates inequality, and negatively affects social and emotional development. Education should prioritize effectiveness rather than convenience. University life is about much more than academic content. It shapes leadership, teamwork, and networking, confidence, and emotional intelligence. While technology may support education, it should never replace meaningful human interaction. The government team itself admits that face-to-face learning remains necessary for many situations. This only proves our point that physical learning remains superior. For this reason, we firmly oppose this motion. Thank you.
Now, as the final speaker of the government team, the motion today is not asking whether online learning is flawless, rather is asking whether online learning has become the permanent part of higher education. The answer is undeniably yes. Even after campuses reopen worldwide, universities continue using online platform, digital submission, recorded lecturers, and visual learning system. This proves one clear reality. Online learning is no longer temporary, it's permanent. Ladies and gentlemen, education must evolve with the world around us. For flexibility, accessibility, innovation, and future readiness, we proudly support this motion. Thank you.